Previously on the history of GOAT, we looked at July 2005, where SJC Seattle would be the final Cyberstein Prize event, alongside the US Nationals. After that was Dark Beginning 2, that gave duelists of all levels much needed reprints like Morphing Jar, Graceful Charity, Mirror Force, and even Cyberstein. This put plenty of duelists on a level playing field, as the 2005 World Championship was the next stop for our world-class competitors. How will GOAT format culminate in this peak event? And what will the aftermath look like? This is the history of GOAT. August 2005 would kick off with something rather nice. A Make-A-Wish Foundation promotional card, Tyler, the Great Warrior. This card, designed by Tyler Gressel, who was diagnosed with a rare form of liver cancer, created a monster that looks more like it belongs in the DBZ CCG than Yugioh, but hey, it's still cool. While being initially drawn by him, the card would evolve by Kazuki Takahashi himself. Obviously, this is a single print, which thankfully survives to this day, as does Gressel, who made a full recovery. The card would go up on eBay in 2023 to assist with Gressel's family and future planning, selling for over $300,000 amongst 179 bids. Wow. Funnily enough, it's not illegal in an official capacity, so whoever bought it could actually play the card. Imagine that at your locals. The Cyberstein era would finally culminate at the 2005 World Championship at Ariake, Japan, between August 6th and the 7th. 40 participants flocked to the land of the rising sun in Yu-Gi-Oh's largest world championship to date, partially due to all the European national champions receiving an invite. Given it was Japan, many expected duelists from Japan and Hong Kong to dominate, yet top 3 would be from Greece, Mexico, and Germany. We'd see familiar decks like Burn, Thousand Eyes Lock, and Chaos Warrior. More surprising were the top 3. Third place, Machine Chaos by David Kretschmer, a surprising limiter removal deck. Second place, Deck Destruction by Jorge Lizarraga, a deck I'm sure duelists were not prepared to face. And first place, Nephthys Control by Miltiades Marco, an old school looking deck that was still solid. Winners would receive a set of 3 cards: King of Destruction Zezix, Queen of Fate Eternia, and an Asian English copy of Firewing Pegasus. If you wanted to play Pegasus in the TCG, sadly you have to wait until 2012's Premium Collection tin. As for the other 2, they would follow the same type-specific match winners that cannot be used in a duel like the 2004 Worlds had. This time, it was Fiend and Fairy types. Many would look at this point in time and see it as either Chaos Meta or Chaos Warrior. Thus, surprises like Mill and Nephthys were able to rise up. I suppose you can't truly kill a Phoenix. Yu-Gi-Oh! Was a game all about card advantage, and Scapegoat was the most advantageous of them all. As such, a high-level event like Worlds was bound to see less experimentation and more trusted strategies. But if you were to take the risk, and with proper gameplay, you might be left with a net positive. It was generally seen as a great event, despite some wishing US Nats champion Max Suffrage went higher than top 16. If you weren't attending Worlds, that same day was the sneak peek event for the upcoming core set, Cybernetic Revolution. The card for attendees would be Embodiment of Apophis, a trap monster that wouldn't get another release until a Shonen Jump promo in November. Due to the nature of this event, Apophis would be legal in competitive GOAT format. While it doesn't see much play in modern GOAT, the idea is fun and could adapt well into Monarch decks. We'll circle back to the set soon enough. GOAT format would not be done here as SJCs continued, the first of which would be SJC Indianapolis on August 20th. It would be at this Gen Con where the new prize card was unveiled, Des Volksgolf. This dragon, upon destroying a monster, inflicts 500 damage to the opponent. It also gains 200 attack points for a turn each time a normal or quick play spell resolves. On paper, it's a far cry from the potential of Stein, and others thought so too. It's an expensive burn card with better tributes out there in terms of both attack power and effects. It doesn't have any synergy with Chaos decks, nor the upcoming core set. At best, it's the chase card to win, and it has cool art that gained popularity due to its overseas nature. The post-Worlds environment was an exciting one, given the freshness of the prize for who will be the first to win one. It was New Horizons that would showcase tech here, such as Big Shield Gardna as a large defense that protected you from Noblemen of Crossout, Magical Merchant that Team Overdose was seeing success with, given it can accomplish a variety of goals like burying monsters, to dig for Sinister Serpent, to being general tempo manipulation. Dual Decrees were also popular here considering the increasing percentage of trap cards like Ring, Mirror Force, and Torrential Tribute. Chain Disappearance is even continuing to see play when factoring in how well GOAT decks did at Worlds. While we'd see some notable decks like Gravekeeper and Goat Burn, the upper echelon of duelists would play a familiar tune. The finals would be between Michael Fukuyama and Nareg Torosian. Both would be playing GOAT control to the surprise of little. By the final game, Fukuyama lost track of his depleting life points, in which Torosian capitalized on, ensuring him the first copy of Death's Voltsgolf. The Death Dragon would remain the prize card until April 2006. SJC Indianapolis would mark the end to the observed GOAT format period, as it proved to be a defining moment in the GOAT strategy being a dominant one. But we're not done here. And if you're enjoying this video, consider joining my Patreon if you haven't liked and subscribed already. Patreon is a great way to support the longevity of the channel. A few days prior to Gen Con Indy would be the release of Cybernetic Revolution. Clearly, the set was not legal at said event and would be marked legal on September 9th, in a similar fashion to the Lost Millennium. This was a set everyone was looking out for, given its plethora of meta-defining cards. Since this is a series about GOAT format, I won't go too in-depth on CRV. Just know that it introduced the Cyber Dragon archetype that gave the game significant firepower in both going second strategies and OTK potential thanks to the fusions. There was also the Roid archetype that had a couple of powerful low-level monsters in Drillroid and Steamroid. And of course the new hero cards in Elemental Hero Bubbleman, Miracle Fusion, and indirect support in Fusion Recovery. Slap on notable singletons like Cybernetic Magician, Dragon's Mirror, and Magical Explosion, and you got one powerful set. A set that would help define a post-GOAT era Yu-Gi-Oh! While CRV would be a goalpost for what marks a new meta, the upcoming promotional cards would muddy the waters in the future. August 30th would see the Nightmare Troubadour video game promo cards, Silent Magicians level 4 and 8, as well as Magician's Circle. Plus September 5th, 2005 collectible tins that included a ton of new cards, aside from an alt art Dark Magician Girl, Guilford the Lightning, Exarion Universe, Forest Raider, Rocket Warrior, and Panther Warrior. A lot of fun new paper rectangles that would be all legal on release. It's surprising it took this long for cards like Forest Raider and Rocket Warrior to come to the TCG, but I digress. However, there would actually be one more event from this historical time period, and that would be SJC Boston on September 10th, one day after CRV's legalization. The month would be rather quiet aside from this event, making it a bit of an odd one, as this would be the single SJC before the upcoming ban list, yet would feature the tin promos primarily in Exarion Universe, and Cybernetic Revolution primarily in Cyber Dragon. Exarion is strong, as it has high stats for a low-level monster and pierces, making it a great tech against the popular GOAT control decks. It was essentially an upgrade to Kaiku. And Cyber Dragon gives you a great comeback tool that can beat over most low-level monsters and also be tribute fodder. Cyber Twin Dragon would likewise see play as a meta target in exchange for a BLS. Brian Long would take the gold against OD's Brian Coronel, thanks to his tech in Different Dimension Capsule and 3 Sakuretsu armors, which no doubt helped counter opposing Xerions and Sidras. Capsule, which was seen as an East Coast card previously, saw play for it could grab you powerful spells or answers to problematic cards, and take the bullet for backward destruction, much like Wave Motion Cannon did. SJC Boston in many ways was a transition point between the summer of 2005 into the autumn season. Duelists still weren't fully adapted to the new set quite yet. Given Boston still followed the April 2005 list, the event was still very much GOAT format coded. Speaking of a list, October 1st would mark a legitimate end to the golden age of Yu-Gi-Oh! With a new round of hit cards. This list would pull no punches, as it aimed to mark a shift in the competitive landscape. With seemingly endless limitations and ban markings, GOAT control as we knew it was officially dead. Thousand Eyes Restrict, Tsukuyomi, Scapegoat, and Metamorphosis were all limited. with BLS, Sinister Serpent, Tribe, and a bunch of other powerful back row cards getting banned. And that's just some of the cards that got hit, but you get the gist. The only relief was Confiscation and Dark Hold coming off, which, yay? At least Exchange of the Spirit was prematurely limited before it could cause a ruckus. And if you were a zombie fan, then seeing Vampire Lord off the list entirely must have been nice to see. Where's J. Kim? Konami clearly saw the direction, nay, the current condition of the meta. What was once a gold rush got mined into a GOAT-centric shaft where decks started to look the same. Something had to be changed, and killing off the main strategy was certainly one way to do it. For now, duelists had to adapt and make new meta calls to keep things relatively fresh in the eyes of Konami. Would it be enough? Time will tell. And that's where the historical GOAT format would end. August going to September would bring an exciting World Championship as well as 2 illuminating SJCs. Slap on a few more releases and you can see why this era of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is looked so fondly upon. Of course, the format wouldn't stay locked away in a tomb. For many years later, fans of the game would uncover the formats of old. But one can't be so sure everything would remain the same. So how would GOAT format be looked upon its inevitable revival? Tune in next time to find out. Duel on, passionate duelist.